Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel Logic Medico. Today's interesting topic is external jugular vein. So before going to the external jugular vein, you just have to know briefly about external carotid artery. If you are new to my channel, consider subscribing to my channel and don't forget to press the thumbs up button in the end, showing that you like this video. So what is this external carotid artery? See, external carotid artery is one of the major arteries supplying the outside of the head and neck. Okay, it is a branch of common carotid artery. This external carotid artery, after its origin, it will have a slightly tortuous course as it travels upwards towards the neck of the mandible, where it terminates into maxillary artery and superficial temporal artery. This external carotid artery gives following branches in the head and neck. Over here, this is the superior thyroid artery supplying the thyroid gland from above. From anteriorly, one more artery, lingual artery supplying the tongue. And this highly tortuous artery going into the face is facial artery. Superior thyroid, lingual artery and facial artery anteriorly. Medially only one branch is there going upwards, resting on the pharynx, and upwards ascending pharyngeal artery. Posteriorly two arteries are going, one is going into the occipital region, it's called occipital artery. One is just going behind the auricle, posterior auricular artery. Last but not the least, the terminal branches, one is resting on the maxilla, gives only 15 branches, they are called maxillary artery. The other one in the temporal area is called superficial temporal artery. So that is about the branches of external carotid artery. So why I said all this is, when there are arteries like this, there will be similar name veins. So all that you have to understand is, when there is maxillary artery, there will be maxillary vein. When there is superficial temporal artery, there will be superficial temporal vein. Please see this diagram. Here is the maxillary vein, superficial temporal vein. They join together to form a vein. It is not called external carotid vein. Instead, it is behind the mandible. See, you can see the mandible. It's behind the mandible and within the parotid gland. This behind means retromandibular vein. So the partner for this external carotid artery in the area of the mandible within the parotid gland is not external carotid vein. For the partner for external carotid artery will be called as retromandibular vein. So how is the retromandibular vein formed? By the joining of maxillary vein with superficial temporal vein. This retromandibular vein, subsequently when it descends vertically downwards, it splits up into two divisions: anterior division of retromandibular vein, posterior division of retromandibular vein. This anterior division of retromandibular vein joins with facial vein to form common facial vein, which ends up in IJV, internal jugular vein. Don't worry about that. So today's topic is what? External jugular vein, right? This external jugular vein is called so because it is on the external aspect of sternocleidomastoid closer to the skin. It is formed at the level of just below the auricle by the joining of posterior division of retromandibular vein with posterior auricular vein. So these two veins join together to form external jugular vein. As you can see, it vertically descends. The sternocleidomastoid will be obliquely oriented. For that, it will bisect the sternocleidomastoid on the superficial surface. It vertically descends down to end up in one vein which will be below the clavicle. This vein will be below clavicle. So we call it a subclavian vein. So the origin of the external jugular vein is by joining of posterior division of retromandibular vein with posterior auricular vein behind the auricle. Then it vertically descends, okay, in the posterior triangle of the neck within the superficial fascia. Okay, then it pierces the investing layer of deep cervical fascia before ending in subclavian vein. So ending in subclavian vein, that is termination. Origin is here, posterior division of retromandibular vein with posterior auricular vein. Last but not the least, tributaries. So the tributaries are the following. From the front of the neck there will be a vein like this. It's called anterior jugular vein. See, jugular here means neck. The front of the neck there is one vein, anterior jugular vein. You can see that ending up in external jugular vein. Then from behind the neck, coinciding with the posterior border of sternocleidomastoid, therefore it's called posterior external jugular vein. Don't confuse this with the main external jugular vein. It is just called as, you can remember, posterior jugular vein because it's anterior jugular, so it can be aptly called as posterior jugular vein. Then here there is one vein in the neck which is transversely oriented, transverse cervical vein or transverse vein of the neck, that is also a tributary. Last but not the least, a vein on the upper surface of the scapula comes and ends here. It's called suprascapular vein. So the tributaries of the external jugular vein are, we can consider these two as the formative tributaries, the posterior division of the retromandibular vein and the posterior auricular vein, anterior jugular vein from the front of the neck, posterior external jugular, or you can just tell posterior jugular vein from the back of the neck, transverse vein of the neck or transverse cervical vein, suprascapular vein from the upper surface of scapula. These are the tributaries of external jugular vein. So mainly you understood the external jugular vein drains the skin and the superficial fascia out of the many branches of the external carotid artery. This maxillary artery will be the maxillary vein, superficial temporal vein. They will join to form retromandibular vein. That retromandibular posterior division joins with posterior auricular vein to end up in forming external jugular vein. Remaining all the veins over here, the remaining all veins, that is facial artery, facial vein will be there, lingual artery, lingual vein will be there, superior thyroid artery, superior thyroid vein will be there, ascending pharyngeal vein. All the other tributaries of this veins which are accompanying this corresponding artery will end up in internal jugular vein. So if you understand one vein, the other vein will become easier. So if you understand external jugular vein, what goes into external jugular vein, by default the remaining will go into the internal jugular vein. So that is the logic behind this. So hopefully you understood the external jugular vein in detail. Okay. So here platysma will be there superficial to this. Okay. This platysma in the superficial fascia, it begins from pectoral fascia, goes to the lower border of the mandible. I am talking of platysma. So this muscle is a subcutaneous muscle. So it can actually pull the mandible down. Okay. That is the action of platysma. Also it can create wrinkling in the neck. Okay. So each time mandible comes down, the platysma is indirectly contracting. That is the logic. When it is indirectly contracting, it is squeezing the underlying blood vessel. Which is the underlying blood vessel? This one. External jugular vein. Okay. This external jugular vein is tightly adherent to the connective tissue around it. So if at all there is a damage only to the skin and the superficial fascia, the external jugular vein is cut and it will remain patent like this. So all the blood may come out of the external jugular vein. So it is necessary to put a pressure on the bleeding vein to prevent excessive bleeding. That is because the tunica adventitia of the vein is tightly adherent to the surrounding connective tissue. That is also the importance of external jugular vein. Thank you for watching. Consider subscribing to the channel and don't forget to press the thumbs up button. Thank you for watching external jugular vein and learning from Logic Medico. Thank you once again.